Welcome to another episode of The Global Game Pod, where we focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's football.
What a goal from Ronaldo! It is absolutely magnificent! It is David Beckham!
With Coach Rudy and friends, this is Global Game Pod.
Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of the Global Game Pod, brought to you by CKB Interiors. If you wish to purchase a kitchen or a bedroom interiors, website is down there. Anyway, now that I got the formalities out the way, I got another good episode for you, and I am joined. Pleasure to have this brother on. Lovely young man. Is doing some big things within the football scene. For those who don't know him, he's going to introduce himself, Coach Hamanne. So, bro, over to you in a couple of sentences, who you are, what you do. Just introduce yourself first, bro.
So I'm Coach Hamanne. I work in grassroots also work at Category 1 Academy. So, yeah, that's what basically I do. Basically.
Yeah, nice, short and sweet, So the beauty of this guy is that not only is he a football coach, but he's a football coach at grassroots and he's a football coach at a Cat 1 Academy. So yeah, this is a big deal, like for the viewers, especially parents, youngsters, even fellow coaches who are watching this. There's definitely some insight that you're going to bring to this. So I'm not going to ask you what Cat 1 Academy you're at, obviously. For personal reasons and for to stay safe. But how did your journey begin? Talk to us about how this all come about, like from grassroots to Cat 1, everyone's trying to plod away and everyone's trying to get these opportunities. How did yours come about?
So it started I started coaching when I was 19. So it was a thing where I didn't really want to do. And then, sometimes when they say you're chosen for certain things, I think I might have been chosen for this because it's something that I never actually had interest of. I always had interest of football, don't get me wrong, but it was just more of just viewing the game and just loving the game, not really, being hands-on involved in the game. And then luckily for me, when I was 16, I'd done my level 1 because I was participating at Fulham Kicks.
Oops, we might have lost him. I think we've lost him.
Involved. I already had started, so that meant that I could go to be like a sessional coach for Fulham Kicks, which was good because I was working in the foundation.
All right, let me just pause you there because I think we lost you for a stutter. So if you just rewind back to where you were at Fulham Kicks, as a youngster, and then you were doing your level 1, and then you start from there.
Okay, yeah. So so I was working at Fulham Kicks from 19. They allowed me to do my level 1 and paid for that as well, which was really good. And then so when I went back at 19, I said I actually wanted to coach. I already had a head start because I already had the level 1. They got me on my youth module 1 as well, which was really good. And then so when that happened now, it was a thing where they gave me an opportunity to do sessions within my area, which was really interesting because I was working with kids from, from the same situation as myself, which was really good. Brought them to tournaments. And it was just a good introduction to sports. And then I came across one coach that used to coach me before, called Ashley. And he basically said that I should come to a Sunday session, which I didn't really know about. So I was thinking, okay, cool. Okay. He said, be there for 10 to 12. So I'll be there, no problem. So I got there now, and then it turns out that it was Lambeth Tigers. Okay. And so on Sundays, I was participating by coaching the young 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, which was really, really interesting. Because obviously I went from coaching in a cage where, I had boys near enough my age to now doing 3-4-year-olds that, were, enthusiastic, they laugh, jumping, do you know what I mean? So it's just a way of just me being able to handle them, which was really interesting as well. So I'd done that for about a month, which I enjoyed. I really, really enjoyed. Then the co-founder, David Marriott, he asked me to do under 8s team.
Okay.
And again, that was a privilege because I was thinking, wow, like, yeah, he's asked me to do a team. Thinking, oh my days, like, do you know what? Like I used to play under good coaches, but now I'm gonna have the privilege to have my own team. So like that was just like a wow factor in its own. I was thinking, oh my days. So then, so I done that, and then when I done that, it was really good. Like the first season, like I think 2 boys moved on to academies, which was good. But I wouldn't say it was down to my coaching. I didn't really know nothing about coaching back then. And I'm still learning now. So I done that. Then the following season. So in between under 8 season, he asked me to come to Crystal Palace pre-academy. So that's where I basically kind of, like got a taste of academy football because I was there. I was coaching every Wednesday and Mondays as well. So we done some fantastic stuff. That age group that I had then are now under 11s and they're doing really good as well. Yeah, and then from there, it got to a time when, because I was learning about football, and then because I was learning about football, and then I was at Lambeth Tigers and Crystal Palace, but I was seeing the same faces. So I thought to myself, I needed to be somewhere else where I could actually learn.
Yeah.
And so I just switched back. So I just decided, you know what, maybe just leave Crystal Palace and then look to go somewhere else if it does happen. To go and learn, because I think the most important thing for me, especially at my age now as well, is about learning. I've got a lot to learn, but I've got to be around different people because when you have different opinions, it will challenge your own thought, and then from that you can kind of make your own little strategies, your own little opinions about the game. And then and then obviously because Lambeth Tigers are quite really popular, so I met some good people. And I met a guy called Barry Jeffries.
Okay.
Now, Barry Jeffries is the South London coordinator and at Arsenal. And he must have asked me one time, oh, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm still at Lambeth Tigers. He said, okay, cool. So if an opportunity came at Arsenal, would you like to take it? I said, oh, I'd love to take that. You know what I mean? So obviously now he must have hit me up about a month later and said to me, there's an opportunity, apply for it and I'm going to recommend you. I said, okay, cool, no problem. So then I done that, got through to the interview, really good, done a coaching interview, they liked me. And then from there they said, just come and work for Arsenal, which I've been there since. So basically this month makes it 2 years. So I've been at Arsenal for 2 years now.
And that's that's how I met you, because obviously my little one is obviously with the pre-academy at Arsenal, and you're his like predominant coach. You look after him also. So before we do, how's he getting on anyway?
He's doing well. He's doing well. It's just I think at this age as well, it's not so much about the academy coaching. It's just about the coach that he has at present, to understand them a bit more and then try to get the best out of him. And that's what I'm doing right now. I've understood him. I know what he's good at, and I know the things that we could work on. So it's just about me, putting that work with him.
And that's brilliant, because for someone like me now, for example, like don't know if you know my journey and where I am. So I've got my own academy in a sense, and I have my own pre-academy, and I'm also the first team coach at Billericay. So I've got the experience of men's football now as well. So for me, it's brilliant because having someone like you there who's of a similar age to myself, who's working with my son in essence, it takes away that pressure of me being a coach to my son. It allows me to be his dad. It allows it allows somebody else to come into his life who understands football, understands it from the same mindset as myself. Because I do like to believe that there is a way of bridging a gap between grassroots football and academy football. And I think it starts at pre-academy. And what I'm finding in a lot of grassroots teams is when they decide to start up, or what if it's an idea, they're always looking at under 10s upwards or under 8s upwards, we should say. But no one actually looks at that 4, 5, and 6-year-old bracket.
Mm,
How
yeah.
important is it for grassroots teams to be looking at those ages?
I think like when we had, so remember the under sevens, under sixes, and under eights is quite a new thing, because before it used to kind of start from like under 12, whatever, from when like Frank Lampard and that used to play.
Yeah.
But then if you look at our youngsters now and the fact that we, like a couple years ago, we won the under 17s World Cup. Yeah. So all of those players started at a young age. All of them, well, near enough, the majority of them started from under sixes and under sevens at those pre-academies that they are at now. So it shows that if you put in that work from before, and you follow it up with some good training and some good education, then you should get some really technical players in the future. So for me, and this is even though I still coach various different age groups, but I love coaching the little ones, because if you can build them up now and then give them, as I said, the good coaching and the education, then we should have some good players in the future. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. And for you, I think that the bigger thing is that you could potentially see these young boys go on to play or watching them on match of the day in about 10, 15 years time. And it's huge, not only for yourself, but it's huge for the youngsters who, let's say, don't make it from that crop of players, because we have to be realistic. Not all of those boys are going to go on to become pro footballers.
No.
We're talking a handful, if that. And and I think the question that most people want answering to, and especially parents, is that can you tell at this age who those boys are, who those boys in that crop are who actually are gonna go?
First and foremost, in something that's like a game of opinions, is like, of course, people are gonna have their own opinions. Do you understand? People are going to say, do you know what? This kid's going to go right to the top. But then in a game where development just goes, it can go either sky high or it can go really low. And the thing about development, it's like a heartbeat. It just goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So it's something that you really wouldn't know. You really wouldn't know until about until about under 18s, really, because before that, you're not like, a kid could not do so well at under 16s. And then for the benefit of the doubt, they're thinking, do you know what? We're probably going to give him a contract, a scholar. Let's see how he gets on. Then literally by under 18s, he's near enough to finish article. Like that's what actually happens sometimes. So, you will never really know, like if a player is actually going to progress on to become a first team player or superstar in that sense as well. So
it's mad, like it, because you see parents now and even coaches at grassroots level, everyone believes they've discovered the next Messi and the next Ronaldo. When in reality, us guys doing a job on the ground, we know where the line is and we know where to keep our balance. And there's nothing wrong in praise, and there's nothing wrong in, telling kids that, you know what, you're fantastic. If you work hard, you could potentially get there. There's nothing wrong in doing that. But at the same time, I think it's our jobs as coaches, not only at a Cat 1 academy, but at grassroots level, it's our job to keep our boys humble and keep their feet on the ground and say to them that, listen, you're just starting. This is a start of a journey that is going to have many bumps. We're in a roller coaster. You're going to go up, you're going to go down. Don't even think about that pro contract until it's actually time for pro contract.
Definitely.
And for you guys, especially at Cat 1, do you have these conversations with these boys? I mean, how do you keep them disciplined?
So for me personally, like, there's like this also goes to grassroots as well with the different age groups that I had. For me, as I always say, my best player is the best learner. So one conversation I have with parents all the time is that, yes, your son's doing really well, but we've got to make sure that we keep his concentration up so that he gets even better, because it's like, it's a profession. Whether people like it or not, it's a profession. So in a profession, you have to make sure that you're literally wanting to learn. You've got to look to, like, just like when I'm coaching right now, I'm not. It's not like I'm going to just in this break that we have now. It's not like I'm just gonna go and chill and not really do nothing. I'm eager to learn. I just want to learn. I'm reading books. I put in the work. You understand? So saying that, that's the same with the players. Just continuous work. Because as you could be really good at under 8 and then just think that I'm really good, and then just chill out. Then by the time you're under 10, under 11, you're probably not an academy no more. And sometimes due to the fact that a player might not need it, a player might need to be in a grassroots scenario, but it also could be the case that he hasn't put in the work, whereas the other players were really working hard and matched up to his standards now.
And I think that's a massive, 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 massive statement that you're making. It like, every time we talk to coaches, we always saying it's the hard workers that will progress. It is not the talent. Hard work beats talent when talent isn't working. We've all heard the statement.
100%.
We've all heard the statement. But how important is that hard work? How important is that ethic? And how important is it to you guys as coaches? Because obviously at pre-academy level, a kid is not signed. They are just coming. Yeah. They are just training. They are just getting an education. But how do you, how does it work for people who don't know? How do they go on to that next level to be signed? What is the process that happens?
So basically, it's like you go training twice a week at the training ground, most probably, and then you'll play matches on a Saturday. But then, London is such a busy market in football because you've got players that are playing for Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, and, they could be playing for other Cat 2 clubs as well, like Crystal Palace and stuff like that. So it's a thing where it's very, very busy. And obviously at the same time, every club has their preference because every club has its different philosophy. So they will select players due to their philosophy. Do you know what I mean? So an example would be a player who is more 1v1 dominant and just looks to beat players all the time. That would probably be a Tottenham player. Do you understand? But then a player who, would do the same things, but then look to play passes at times will probably be an Arsenal player, a West Ham player, like, maybe a Chelsea player as well. Do you understand? So by saying that, what I'm basically trying to say is that what we try to do is the boys that we really want, the boys that we think would do really well for us, we will always try to, support them in different ways that we can. And that might mean that a parent might need help with a certain thing, and we'll try our hardest to do that.
Yeah.
So yes, so that's what it is.
So do coaches like yourself at pre-academy level, do you have an influence in the players that progress, or does that come down to the guys at the top?
So the thing is that, again, football is a game of opinions.
Of course.
But because we work with them on the ground, they'll probably say to us, "What's your thoughts on this player?" And at times they may listen to us, but also at times they may say, "Do you know what? I've heard what you said, Hamanne, for example, but yeah, we're gonna go for this kid instead." Do you know what I mean? And and that's what happens, because obviously in terms of the club and the direction it wants to go, the people at the higher top, they have a clearer vision more than us, because obviously they're more involved with the hierarchy and stuff like that. Whereas we're just going to look at the player itself, and yet, like, he may be able to play the Arsenal way when he's like under 9s, under 10s or whatnot. So yeah, so it's basically 50-50, but at times we may be adamant and say, no, do you know what? This player, he deserves it. He's doing really well. And for us, we think that he's going to be a player. So, yeah. So, and it's just in the hands of them. But sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't.
And I think that's what football is, though. Football's subjective. Do you understand? Every parent thinks their kid is good. let's not get twisted. Every single parent. Not. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be at your coaching sessions, and I can see the parents who come up to you at the end of the session and ask you, how did he get on? What does he need to do? And I'll see the parents who don't ask you. and that in itself is massive. Like, so for you guys as a pre-academy coaches, academy coaches, do you ever look at that in a player and in terms of their parents and stuff? And do you look at the attitude of the parents, and does that play a factor in the future?
Yeah. Well, for me, it does, but then it depends on the question and it depends on the personality of the parents. So one thing that I always look at is the personality of the parents, and it's the way how they ask you. Do you understand? So you got some parents that might ask you, and they're very, very concerned. But then you've got other parents that might ask you, and then they're ready to get the stick to their kids in the back of the car. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like it's just about understanding a person. But majority of the times, when parents ask me, like it makes me think. You know what? You know, like this parent and this kid, they really want the best for themselves. They really want to push on and, you know, and get, you know, and get signed hopefully. So yeah, so it's something that plays on my mind for sure, definitely.
Also, in saying that, because I'm one of the few parents you're going to meet who isn't bothered about his kid being signed. As zero interest to me. And weird for people to hear, because only a year ago, I would have said the complete opposite. I'd have been like, nah, my boy's going to be pro, my boy's going to be pro, my boy's going to be pro. But now I look at it from a completely different perspective, completely different angle. All I want really, in reality, all I want is for my boy to be the best he can be.
He can be,
And in whatever environment that may be. Now, that may be at Arsenal, United, Juventus, Real Madrid, or Leyton Orient, or even at grassroots level. It could be anywhere. And he just needs to be the best at what he's doing. So I have been having this debate in my head for the last 3-4 months. Now, since Omar's been at Arsenal, it's no coincidence. He came in at the 3rd game of this season. Now, you got to remember, he's under 6. He plays under 7s grassroots football, because there is no under 6 grassroots. So he plays under 7s grassroots football. And 3 games in, he got seen and he got invited over. So he was doing both centres. He was doing Brentwood and he was doing Wadham, that is with you guys. So he's had a luxury for about 3 months. He did Brentwood as well. And then after I got the Billericay job, obviously it was difficult for me to be doing Brentwood, Billericay. It was chaotic. So obviously I asked, and we only do the 1 session now with you. I opted for the Wednesday session over the Monday session because of you. In reality, it was because of you. I'm very vigilant in my coaches, because at the end of the day, everyone wants the best for their son. And I think it's very important that a coach resonates with a parent and a child's personal philosophy. You understand? It's like when you're at grassroots, I'm sure you've had it, where players come to play for you rather than play for the club.
Yeah, you get that.
Do you understand? So I'm one of those people that I look at all the coaches. I'm not saying the coaches are bad in any way, shape, or form. I think every single coach is brilliant in their own right. But I just I always look for coaches who resonate with myself and resonate with my son, and how they're going to develop him into the best player he can be. So that's one of the reasons I opted for the Wednesday session. And he kicked on after joining Arsenal, where he's the top scorer in at the club. He's the top scorer in the league. He's the top scorer overall across all my age groups this season, and he's the youngest player at the club. And it's no coincidence. For me, it's not no coincidence. It's just it's supposed to be this way, because you are that good. Now, the conundrum I'm having is next season he's still under 7. Does he move up and play with the boys that he's played with this season and go and play under 8s football? Or does he stay at under 7 and completely dominate it and boss it the way that he should? And that's the conundrum that I'm playing with. So part of me saying, I'm going to start him with the under 7, see how it goes. And if it's too easy, I'll push him on. The other part of me saying, I might just start him with the under 8s and then bring him down to the under 7s if he's struggling. So there's so many different varieties that I could do here with him. But it all comes from that philosophy, that ethos, that when he's with you guys, obviously, for viewers who don't know, at Arsenal currently, what I see, and you could correct me if I'm wrong here, from what I see, there's a lot of one-to-one individual-based training. A lot of unopposed work. And there's an introduction to opposed work. It's an introduction. It's not in your face, here we go, we're going to play 5-a-side. It's not, that's not the case. Even at the festivals, 3-a-side. it's an introduction into football and what it should be and how it should be. So there's an element of it's one-to-one, 1v1 training, but at the same time, because I hear it a lot from the coaches, decision making, you're introducing it right now. How important is that decision making at this age?
Decision making is really important, and like at this age as well, parents tend to make the decisions for their sons or for their daughters. So for us, okay, so what it is with our when we are, you know, trying to improve decision making, is a thing where it's like we want the kid to make his own decision. Now, yes, he may get it right, he may get it wrong. Now, if he gets it wrong, it's not about telling him how he's got it wrong. It's about letting him understand that what could he have done, you know. And the thing is, you might look at the picture, because I always like to break things into pictures. You might look at the picture and say, yeah, I should have passed it into him. But the thing is, you're asking that question, did you have to pass it to him, or what could you have done? Do you know what I mean? So it's just about really getting them to think about their actions. So and in that scenario, like I just mentioned, you know, I've seen a lot of players, you know, be in that similar picture, and then kind of understand that, you know what? Okay, this is what I could do. This is what I could do. Do you understand? So like the interesting thing, you actually see them thinking a lot. And with decision making, that's what we want them to do. It's not about letting them know, that was wrong, this is shouldn't. No. It's about letting them think. Like they got to think about what they're about to do, and what they could do as well. And with that, that's where you get intelligence comes into play. You understand? So yeah, it's like that's what it is basically.
So we're saying that decision making. We're saying that 1v1 specialists, and we call them specialists because that's what we're trying to create. We're creating 1v1 specialists in essence, with the technical aspects of the game. So 1v1 specialists, it's almost a marriage into decision making. You have to combine the two, otherwise you're only going to get half a player in essence.
Yeah.
And it was the way what you said earlier, that if you are 1v1 specialist, but that's all you know how to do, then a club like Arsenal will probably not be the club for you.
Well, it depends. Like I've got to be careful when I say that, because it depends. Like what I basically was trying to say then was that Tottenham really go for 1v1. So their philosophy, in a sense, it's not about being a pass. So even when you go watch their under 9s, under 10s, you wouldn't see a lot of passing. All you would see is just players just taking on players. So that's what I was basically saying, that sort of play is more suited to Tottenham, because they don't want you to pass. Do you understand? And obviously, you know, like I can't say that they're wrong, because they've got professional players out of it. So you know, it's down to opinion. But in our Arsenal, we'll probably still like a 1v1 player, but we may want a player that might be able to, you know, do certain things on the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you in that sense, because like we said, like we've been stating all this time, football's subjective. Everyone's got their own, their own different methods. Do you understand? And I don't think anyone can be right or anyone can be wrong. But how important is it to have a sense of culture and have a sense of a style, not at academy level, but at grassroots level? How important is that?
A style is really, really important, because I think style is what, especially at grassroots, is what parents, especially from opposition or parents that are trying to get into your team, that's what they really like. They really like that when they go watch so for example, at Lambeth Tigers, I'll give you an example, we play a lot of attractive football. We like to, you know, play out from the back, you know, like to be able to dominate possession. And also we've got some really good 1v1 plays in the right areas. And that's something that parents and from opposition and parents that are trying to get to do. They say, every time we go watch a Lambeth game, it's like, well, basically, like it could be under 9s or under 16s, but it's almost the same sort of play. And that's something that people really, really like. And they really take interest in that. So having a style is really, really important. It's really, really and it's a thing where, you know, style can be something that will help improve players, because obviously they've got a guideline to play under, and also at the same time as well, with style, especially depending on the style, it could allow creativity. So with us, you know, at Lambeth, we really like creativity. So if you're a wide player, we want you to be creative. You know, if you're up front, like, you know, nearly every position needs to be creative.
Position. Yeah.
Every position. So so that's what it is really. Yeah.
Yeah, and then going back to that decision making, like, so we have an ethos at the club that we coach at the academy. That so the instructions that we give, and this is where sometimes it's very important to go and study pre-academies and go and study coaches and go and study
Mhm.
what the professional clubs are doing, because
Mhm.
my opinion is that there is a big gap between grassroots football and academy football.
Mhm.
What's
Mhm.
what would your take be on that?
So,
Because
so
you're in both worlds. Do you understand?
yeah. I think yeah, the gap it depends on the club that that the players at. Because I'll give you an example, especially in South London, two of the best clubs in South London are Lambeth Tigers and another club called Junior Elite. Now, when you go watch Lambeth Tigers and Junior Elite, and you go watch an academy session, you wouldn't see a big gap.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't see a big gap because obviously, you know, to be honest, a lot of the coaches that are at Lambeth Tigers are at academies as well. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So even with Junior Elite, it's run by a guy called Colin Omogbehim, who's fantastic, and he's the under 23s manager at Fulham.
Mm.
So when you go there, you wouldn't see a big gap in terms of it. Just depends on the environment as well, and also as well, it goes back to the style as well, because both of the club style are really, really attractive football. But then you could get a Saturday or Sunday team where they like to just play that long ball. Nothing wrong playing a long ball, but it's just, they like to play that long ball and then they play it into their best player,
Yeah.
and everything goes through the best player. And with that, you're not going to get a lot of development with the other boys. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mm.
there's not going to be enough involvement with the other boys. It's just going to be about finding that best player. Do you know what I mean? So I think where we can minimize the gap is if we have a style, a culture where all boys are involved, and we're concentrating on the development of every single player. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
like I heard one thing one time from one coach at Arsenal, and he said to me basically that you hear a lot of coaches saying, we're going to make sure we get this player so he can improve another player, or these two players will help us improve. And he said that that's very selfish, because the thing is, you're telling me that a parent has given you their child, and all you're thinking about is one child and the benefit
Mm.
of that child, when you've got other players in your team who could have the right chance if you gave them, all the same, energy and hard work and desire, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
and that's stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go on.
I completely agree with you in that sense. I would dispute the fact that, see, where I'm talking about grassroots football and academy
Yeah.
football, and where you've hit the nail on the head by saying that the two clubs that you mentioned are
Yeah.
run by academy coaches. So
Yeah.
there is no cultural difference. What they bring to the academy, they bring to the grassroots. And I
Mm.
I'm not privy to Lambeth Tigers or Junior Elite. Like, I know
Yeah.
of them, obviously. But
Yeah.
I've not been to sessions or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that, and you, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I almost guarantee that the players that you have at your disposal
Hmm.
will not look out of place at academy football.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no, because it goes back to what and credit to Lambeth Tigers, and obviously this is something that I was doing as well, and is that with our under sixes and under fives and under fours, we like to start them from young. So even one thing that I started up with David is that we do 3v3 tournaments.
Yeah, that's
So
beautiful.
we we expose the players to different type of situations. So when I'm saying yes and no, it's because I'm basically saying that it all depends on how you start.
Mm.
So it depends on how you start. Do you know what I mean? So like at Lambeth, we like to get the boys in early, get them the technical sessions, get them into those 3v3 situations, and literally from when they get into under nines and under tens, then you might find that that kid won't look out of place in the academy. But I reckon that's how he started the journey. That's what I reckon. But I could be wrong. It's down to my opinion. when your opinion could be different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely
So
agree with that. I completely agree with that. But the thing is, I think the frustration, not for me. I'm quite
yeah,
lucky in a sense where um, I've been able to go and watch sessions from like Lundberg at the under-15s at Arsenal when he was down there,
yeah,
all the way to going to Cobham and watching sessions over there. So I've been quite lucky to be in that academy environment, and that's been based more on who I know rather than what I know.
yeah,
You
yeah,
understand?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I think the
yeah,
frustration, I think right now I'm speaking when I was a young grassroots coach. So, when I was 17,
yeah,
18, 19 years old, and I didn't have
yeah,
those opportunities. Well,
yeah.
see, when I'm starting a club and I've got no links, I don't know anybody, I don't, I
Mm-hmm.
haven't got the
Yeah, yeah.
luxury of joining a session. I think it's very difficult for grassroots coaches to understand academy level. So this is what I'm trying to say, that the gap is there because I don't think that pro clubs and these grassroots clubs who don't have the links are creating that link in a sense. So it's like, for example, if I don't know nothing about football, blah blah blah, or I don't know nothing about academy football and stuff, where do I go to get that knowledge? Who do I go to get that knowledge? Because I guarantee you, every email that I send to every single pro club, it gets ignored. So what do I do? Do you
Yeah,
understand where I'm coming from? So do we need to have a bit more of a
yeah.
bridging? Do we have to have a bit more of a bridging in that sense where pro clubs do take a lot more interest in grassroots clubs, and not even grassroots club, but more like grassroots coaches in terms of education?
Mm, mm. So do you know what it is? Yes, because I think one thing that it seems from, and obviously boss, I will understand, which is that all clubs like to get like game like they like to win, so they like to take players, and it's almost as if at times they're not looking to give anything in return. But my thing is that, how about put yourself in a situation where you can get a win-win situation for both sides? If, for example, that grassroots club could potentially give you some players, but at the same time you're looking at more interest in that club to develop the standard of coaching, because what you will like, because especially at grassroots as well, because I think grassroots is the most important phase in football, because kids get a proper connection with a coach. So if an academy, a pro club, for example, can get a good relationship with a grassroots club and get them to do CPDs and whatnot and stuff like that, then that would only just be a win-win situation, because in the future you might get better players out there because you've got better coaches. It's like that's how it is. You know what I mean? And obviously as well, you just expand their thought as well, because again, a grassroots club might have their own way of doing something, but then they go into a club like Arsenal, for example, and then they see how Arsenal do things, and they're like, oh, do you know what? Yeah, if we could do that, that could be better. And then before you know it, you've got better coaches, got better players, and then the club just got, just going to go all the way to the top and
And that's
produce
the
them a
thing.
lot of players.
That's the thing. Grassroots football is actually the hub of football, and that's why
100
for me,
billion%.
it's very important that grassroots football follow the same principles and the same morals of academy football. Learn from academy football, because what happens is people think football starts at academies. Football don't start at academy. Football starts at home, really.
Yeah,
In reality,
at
if we
home,
break
yeah.
the whole thing down, football starts at home, and it's what you're doing with your kid at home that's massively important. So if you were to give a message to parents, not to coaches, not to clubs, because let's break it all the way down to the household. If you were to give a message to the parents in terms of their child's development, what would you be saying to them?
First and foremost, in a game of opinions, do not chase the game, let the game chase you. So what I mean by that is this. So a lot of parents chase the academy lifestyle, and then all of a sudden, when it goes wrong, they get very upset, and they're thinking, oh yeah, my son's not good enough. Well, that's not the case. The case was that you was more worried about, him being at an academy, wearing a shirt, putting on Instagram, whereas when he needs to be developed, he needs to be challenged. Do you understand how I'm coming from? Because at grassroots, the coaches have a very good connection with you, and they are only looking to improve you. Whereas you're going to a lot of the academies, and majority of the time at academies, you're playing matches. Matches are fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but like how good is that for your development? when you could be going somewhere else and getting some good training that might help you to become better. You know,
Yeah.
so for me, my thing is that try to start grassroots. You know, keep your head down, work hard. If an academy does come and get you, go for it. You know, and sometimes you might go for it and it's not the time. Everything in life, yeah, like everybody's got their own time. Do you understand? So you know, you could get under eights, and from what I'm seeing from Lambeth Tigers, there's players that just got under 16s when they've been in around the academy since under eights. So again, you know, you know, they could have just said, you know what, I've been in around academy, haven't really got it, I'm gonna give up. They didn't. You know, they stuck to it. They stuck to grassroots. They showed a lot of faith to grassroots, and in the end, they got paid really well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's about parents being able to focus on their son's development. Do not focus on anything else. Do not focus on, you know, Instagram or putting that picture on Instagram because he's there. No, that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, players are playing football because they want to be a professional player. So, you know, you've got to help your son to become a professional player by giving him a good training and making him understand that he's got to work hard for things.
Yeah.
This is it. That's literally it.
And a message I would also give is watch, for parents, is watch those training sessions and see what the coaches are doing. Make sure when your child comes home, he's almost doing the homework that you would expect him to do when he's at school. Do the work. Even if it means just going over the same session for a whole week until you meet your coach again. But make sure those skills are being enhanced and not just being done. So I have a thing with my little one. Whatever he learns at Arsenal, he has to replicate at training on a Saturday, because he trains on a Wednesday. So on a Saturday's training, he has to replicate those things to the other boys. So it's almost a case of, this is what I did, and I'm now going to improve at it because I've done it on Wednesday, I'll do it on Thursday, I'll do it on Friday, and now on Saturday, I'm going to show you how to do it so you can do it for the rest of the week. But on a Sunday, can you now do it? Can you now, that's your target, basically. You understand? It's not about scoring 3 goals. That's not on the agenda. It's, okay, you've learned the L turn this week. Is there a point in the game where you can produce an L turn when it's on?
L turn.
You know? And if you've done that, then you've achieved your target for that week, because what you've practiced, you've now put into play. And that's exactly what I want to see from my little one anyway, is that he's learning, he's enjoying it, and come 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the line, listen, if he's done everything correctly, then I've got no doubts where he's going to be. And if he hasn't done the things correctly, if I haven't done things correctly, or we just have simple bad luck, then you know what? We've had a good crack at it. And your dad was a coach. Now let's go coach.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like it's almost like myself, you know. You know, like you hear a lot of people saying, you know, I was injured and, you know, my career got cut short. I hear that, but sometimes you just gotta be honest. I was okay at the sport. You know, I can still play now, but you know, I never made the grade. It is what it is. So I decided to take an interest in coaching. You know, it's a thing where you might try it, you might get your luck, you might not get your luck, but you know, at the end of the day, it hasn't stopped me from loving the game. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, you know, it is what it is, man. It's not really
That's what they're saying. It love the game, and it will love you back in one way or another.
This is literally it. This is literally it, bro. Literally.
Nah, to be honest, like you're doing some good things. You're going. Just the last question. We end on this with this question. Yeah. What is the ambition? What is the goal? Where do you want to go with this?
So right now, I never really say this, but I'm 22 years of age. By the time I'm 40, I would like to be a first team coach for professional football. That's my goal.
Any level?
Ideally, at a professional club.
Yeah, but any professional level? So like we're talking League 2 up, Conference up, or Premier League only?
I'm gonna be hard on myself. I'll say Premier League. I'll be hard on myself.
And that's exactly what it is. I see. I'm lucky. I'm a first team coach at National League South. I'm one promotion away from professional football. Yeah.
Professional football. Yeah.
So I never thought I would ever get there. And I'm being straight up. If you told me 6 months ago that, listen, you're going to have a chance to be sitting in the dugout with Jamie O'Hara, Gifton Noel Williams, and a whole heck of pros that have played the game at a variety of levels, I would have looked at you and said, yeah, you're mad, mate. I coach kids football. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And now that I'm here, people ask me all the time, so what's next? And I'm like, whoa, wait, relax. Let me enjoy this now.
Yeah.
And we'll go to that level when we need to get there. But I think for you, what you're doing with the youngsters is amazing. Especially at grassroots as well, you're bringing your education into grassroots, which is so important for the game. You're also liaising with people like myself who run our own academies, who are at grassroots level, and we're bouncing off each other. You understand? And I think that's the biggest change in modern football right now, is that clubs are no longer self-entities, but we bounce off one another. Where South London mingles with East London mingles with West London, and we've all got to come together and be one united front, because the name of the game is development.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's development of parents, development of players, development of ethnic minorities within the game, development of youngsters, development of coaches. So I think the title of this episode should really be development, because this is exactly what we're doing. We're bridging the gap not only between academies and grassroots, we're bridging the gap between different areas of London. We're coming together as one hub, and we're bettering ourselves. We're bouncing off each other. We're saying to each other that, look, what would you do in this scenario? Because the God's honest truth is this episode was slightly selfish in a sense where we're actually starting up an under sixes unit properly. So we've got 4 and 5 year olds jumping on. And you know what? When we're looking at, we're like, who are the best people to talk to understand how to do it? And with 11 years experience in the game, people would have said, well, you've got enough experience to go and deal with it yourself. But the reality is what you said right at the beginning of the conversation was, even during this time where everything's shut down and we can't go out and coach, we're still learning. And for me, this episode is all about learning on how to be better and how to go about it, because I don't have experience in it. So why not use somebody like yourself who has plenty of experience in it and say,
no. I'm learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah, but I think we never stop learning. You can't ever stop learning.
Yeah, it's true.
And if you think you're better than learning, then give up, because somebody's going to be working harder than you somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you understand?
Definitely.
But nah, this has been a pleasure. Talking to you has been an absolute pleasure. You've definitely given.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You've definitely given us some great insight on how pre-academies, academies, and even grassroots, how what we're doing to change the game a little bit, slowly but surely. With all these small steps, we're gonna get better and better and better and progress. And hopefully, someone like yourself, I hope you reach your dream of being in a Premier League dugout someday. And
hopefully,
I'm about as well. If you want to take me with you, you get me?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Before we part, I'm gonna leave your socials down there somewhere, and you're gonna see our socials as well. So any guys you want to give him a follow, give him a DMs. He probably does private sessions. Give him a little plug on his business. You get me? Go on, get to him, especially in the South London area, even East London area. And Hamanne's a great coach. And that's coming from me. My boy is being coached by Hamanne, so trust me when I tell you he's a great coach. So hit him up 100%. His socials, I'll leave him there. Just before you go, one last question, 2 words, one answer. I need the answer in 1 word: Ronaldo or Messi?
Messi.
What is wrong with everybody?
Messi.
It's starting to get to me. I'm gonna take this thing off behind me, because I think I'm getting in people's heads. I think when we put it up, and then when I ask the question, they always say, "Yeah, Messi," because he's got Ronaldo.
No, Messi. He's pleasure to watch. We're never gonna see a player like him, I reckon. He's just, I don't know. To be honest, he's out of the world for me. He's just so smart, so skillful. I don't know. I appreciate Messi. People think I don't appreciate Messi. I love Messi. Messi is a fantastic little player. But for me, it's the big man. And again,
It's a matter of
Yeah.
opinion, bro.
Opinions. This is it. It's a matter of opinions. You know what I
It's
mean?
a matter of
So,
opinions. But
definitely.
Hamanne, absolute pleasure talking to you. We'll do this
No
again.
worries.
Well, you know what? We find another subject to talk about. I'll be a pleasure to have you on again. And
Yeah.
I think we're going to be
Definitely.
sitting in our houses for the next Lord knows how long. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do this again.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on. Absolute pleasure.
Anytime, man.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much,
Yeah.
bro. Look after yourself.
Nice one.
Stay safe, and
Yeah.
we'll speak to you soon. Peace,
Yeah.
everybody.
Same to you. All right,
Make
peace.
sure
All right, see you later.
make
Yeah.
sure you like, share, subscribe, do the rest of it, and we'll see you for the next episode in a couple of days. Thank you very much again.